All right, let's look at what is arguably one of the most efficient and effective ways of being able to separate your opponent's hands in a Juji Gatame situation. Now, let's have one thing clear. A lot of times when people are trying to attack a person in this position, they really do so inefficiently and ineffectively. What do I mean by that? When they're in the Juji Gatame or the armbar position, what they do is that they keep their elbow close down to their opponent's elbow, and then once they are on their opponent's elbow, they will simply pull on the elbow, trying to get the hands to separate, okay? There's a couple of reasons why this method is really something that's not going to produce a lot of fruit. Well, number one, you're not addressing what is the big problem of this hand staying connected, which is the grip itself, okay? Understand that if you want to disconnect your opponent's hands, you have to attack the grip. Number two is that you're attacking larger muscle groups than you have to, okay? Mainly the biceps, the pecs, and whatnot, okay? And these are muscle groups that in reality can display a lot of force. A guy can really be strong from this position, okay? So once again, we want to get away from the situation where I'm elbow to elbow with somebody, my hand's on the hip, and all I'm doing is I'm pulling away at the elbow here, trying to disconnect their hands. Instead, let's ask ourselves a question: how can I attack the hands? And how can I get away from trying to chip away at the big muscle groups of the pec, the bicep, the deltoid, the shoulders, whatnot, okay? Here's what we're gonna do. What we're gonna do is we're gonna do two things. Number one, I'm gonna attack the grip by bringing my elbow, instead of elbow to elbow, elbow to wrist. Number two, I'm gonna attack the smaller muscle groups of the rotator cuff muscles, come in for a second, Vinny, by taking his arm and rotating it, okay? So if I can manage to get my point of connection closer to his hands and his wrist, and if I can manage to take his arm out of alignment and start rotating it like so, or like so, it will be much easier and effective for me to separate his hands. How are we going to do this? From here, this is just one method of doing this. There are many others. I will take elbow to elbow. I will place my hand on my own hip flexor. From here, I will place my hand initially on the mat like so. Now, from here, I will take my right hand, slide up to my opponent's elbow, and bring his elbow off center and outside my rib cage. The moment I do this, making sure to keep my feet in proper position. If you look at my last video that I posted on my channel, you'll see how you should be positioning your feet to be able to control your opponent. I will take my elbow and grab his wrist. Now, as I grab his wrist, I will not simply try to pull back and away on the wrist here. He will still be able to display a good amount of strength here. Keep your hands in, Walter. Good. I'm not going to pull. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take his arm out of alignment as if I was hitting him with a Kimura motion. Okay, Kimura motion, all right? From here, once his hands is disconnected because I was attacking those smaller rotator cuff muscles, I will take my elbow, straighten my elbow out. I do not let go and try to grab the wrist. I keep it in the crook of my elbow, straighten my elbow, pass off 1, 2, and now from here I'm attacking. Now, once I'm ready to attack, I will break his arm over my bottom hip, and then you get the finish. So once again, looking at how to, an effective way of disconnecting the hands, I start in my Juji situation, elbow to elbow, hand on hip. Hand is on the mat. From here, I will slide my hand up to his elbow and bring it, keep your hands connected, and bring it outside my rib cage. I do not want it in the center. It's gonna be very hard to manipulate in the center line, outside the rib cage. I will take my elbow up to the crook of his wrist. From here, I will slide my left elbow down to my left hip flexor. There. Now once that happens, I will straighten my elbow out. Pass 1, 2, 3. Now I have a solid 2-on-1. And now from here, you're ready to start finishing the guy. That's good. You can press the record button right there. On the, yeah, right there. The right here.
I started daydreaming.
Start.